Good morning, and I'm glad to be here today on behalf of the Mississippi Department of Agriculture and Commerce. I'm Commissioner Andy Gibson, and of course, many people already know, but some may not know, that we do have a Petroleum Division in the Department of Agriculture. Our Director of Regulatory Services, Jennifer Thompson, behind you there in the back, is overseeing that program. And since we found out about the Colonial Pipeline disruption last Friday evening, our team has been in touch with the petroleum industry around the nation and here in Mississippi. So today I just wanted to give everyone an update and some advice on the current situation. Now, as you know, the Colonial Pipeline was disrupted due to a cyber attack last week. That event has resulted in serious disruptions on the East Coast, and you'll see all that on the news. A lot of people have seen those news reports, and unfortunately, a lot of people in Mississippi have gone out and begun to do exactly what happened during the great toilet paper crisis in 2020. Gone out and bought everything on the shelves. And so today, you may see some gasoline stations, fuel stations that are without gasoline, as I saw this morning. That is not due to the Colonial Pipeline disruption. That is due to panic buying. It is due to unnecessary panic. And if you don't hear anything else I say today, hear this. There's no reason to panic about the fuel supply. Our fuel supply in Mississippi is strong, it is resilient, and we have multiple pipelines and multiple terminals that we rely on and that remain in operation. The Colonial Pipeline itself does provide only about 30% of the total fuel in the state of Mississippi, and it's only in some areas of the state. We have all of our river terminals and port terminals at Vicksburg, Greenville, Aberdeen. They continue to receive an abundant supply of petroleum products. Of course, our refinery at Pascagoula, the Chevron refinery, is operating without disruption. So we have at least 70% of supply coming in even right now as we speak. Not only that, but all of those additional outlets are increasing supply here in Mississippi. So there has been a temporary disruption. The main thing to remember is limit your travel right now until the pipeline is up at operating. They tell us it should be up and operating the end of this week. In the meanwhile, limit your travel to what's necessary. Keep working, keep going to school, whatever you have to do, but limit your travel to what's necessary. If you have to travel long distances in the state or out of the state, call ahead to your destination. See if they have fuel supplies in their local area before you get on the road. And don't want you getting caught without a refill along the way. So just call ahead, limit your travel, and then the main thing to remember is only buy the fuel you need. Leave some for your neighbors, leave some for your friends, for the old folks at home, because there are plenty of fuel supplies if we don't rush to the pumps and panic buy. And that's what we saw happening here in some cases last evening. We also have in Mississippi the Plantation Pipeline. It is an additional pipeline that runs through the state, and it is working to increase its capacity to supply the fuel needs of the state of Mississippi right now. The one complicating factor in all of these issues is the ongoing labor shortage that we've seen in America and in Mississippi. There has been a lack of truck drivers. This was reported on just a couple of weeks ago. Not enough people driving trucks around the country delivering fuel and other products for that matter. So that is going to contribute to a little slower recovery, but the Federal Highway Administration has waived some requirements so truckers can roll longer hours and keep supplies rolling as we deal with this. And I'm very optimistic that we are not going to run out of fuel in Mississippi if we just keep our cool, calm down, don't panic, and buy what we need when we need it in the state of Mississippi. So to recap, many other aspects of fuel supply in Mississippi, 70% totally unaffected, and in fact there are increasing supplies to our state, and the other 30% of Colonial should be back online by the end of the week, and truckers are rolling. If you, in your local gas station, if your local fuel station where you always go, if it is out of fuel, try somewhere else. Call around. You'll find fuel in Mississippi. It's there. It just happens that that particular station, people sucked it dry, you know, and you may need to go outside your normal path to find fuel, but there's fuel in Mississippi. It's available, so don't panic. Thank you all for coming today. I'll be glad to take any questions.
Is there, because so many stations are running out of gas so quickly, is it solely because people are just all rushed to the pump, or has there been a measurable reduction in what is being delivered to the pumps?
Well, the bottom line is it depends on where that station is buying their fuel. If they were buying their fuel from the Colonial Pipeline supply, that supply was seriously interrupted. But there are other options to purchase fuel. So it is that factor, but the larger factor is the rush on the pumps. The 40-car long people filling up, those tanks can only hold so much fuel, and when it's gone, it's gone. So the overarching factor in the reduction of availability is the panic buying, just like we saw with toilet paper last year. People went in and bought everything they could, and there was none left for the other folks until the trucks arrived with replenished supplies. And the trucks are still rolling, and they're still coming, and there will be fuel even at the stations that have a temporary outage right now.
We've had some people saying that there are certain gas stations that are priced gouging. They've significantly increased overnight. Can you speak to that and also the possibility of gas prices on the rise in Mississippi in general?
Yes, we have seen gasoline prices and diesel fuel prices on the rise for the last several weeks. We are entering the peak season of travel, and we expect the prices will continue to rise, not only due to this particular issue, but just the general economic and regulatory conditions in America. Prices are going up. We expect they'll continue to rise, and we do expect this will have an increase, effective increase in gas prices in the short term for sure. As supply and demand, the laws of supply and demand come into play in the temporary period of time. But I think for the next week, we'll probably see some of those prices fluctuate and increase. And if people suspect price gouging, they can call the Attorney General's office and report that to their Consumer Protection Division. I'm sure they're already getting calls. I've gotten calls about that today. But the bottom line is the gasoline prices are going up, and I expect they will go up. On the other hand, when we see a shortage like this or a temporary disruption like this, then we're glad to have fuel wherever we can get it. But the prices are going up. They probably will go up as we go into the summer. If you see price gouging or people that are really taking advantage of this, which is against the law, call the Attorney General's office, their Consumer Protection Division.
What are you hearing about when this Colonial Pipeline will be back online? It's been 5 days now.
Yeah, Colonial has advised that they expect to resume operations almost as normal by the end of this week. So in my own mind, for my own family, I'm planning a week ahead. What fuel do we need to get to work, to get to school, to get back home? And let's be conservative and buy what we need and limit our travel. And if we do need to travel, we'll call ahead to wherever we're going and make sure they do have fuel at their gas stations. But I think let's plan for an immediate, week-long here event, and it could be longer than that. But as I said, the other pipelines and other refineries and terminals, river, barge traffic, none of that's been affected by Colonial's cyber attack. So people should feel good about the fact that we have a very strong and resilient petroleum industry in Mississippi and in the Southeast. Thank you. Remember, don't panic buy. Buy what you need, travel where you need to go, and leave some for the next folks. Thank you.